Round 8 is done and dusted. Inside Ball podcast. The great Kevin Walters. Can we do how good are you going this year? I mean, your commentary over the weekend, Anzac Round. I mean, the teams had to lift. You had to lift, and you lifted, mate. You were outstanding over the weekend.
Well, look, I'm really enjoying the commentary, but yeah. I just feel like Anzac weekend and Anzac Day in particular is a special day in our history.
Yeah.
So it needs to be enjoyed as such, and we need to be thankful for those that have served our country, men and women. And I just feel, that the sport brings out the emotion in people, particularly me. I get a bit emotional. I loved the weekend. It was good.
You were very good.
But it was a strange weekend of rugby league, Dobbo. So many, every game had issues and scenes and players getting sent off. And
mate, I cannot
where do we
get
start?
Okay, I'm going to go through the results in a minute, but I want to say this now before we start. Any team can win the comp at the moment. I'm sorry.
They can't.
No, look, I'm sorry. On any given day,
No.
if you're a tipster at the moment, you can't pick them.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'll change that. I reckon there's 6 teams that can win the comp.
No, well, yeah, that's probably about right.
6 teams that can win the comp. Now, normally there's 2 or 3 or 4. I don't think
there's 6. I think there's 2 or 3 or 4 again. So,
You reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Anyway, results of the weekend.
But what I have noticed is that you need, and I knew this when I was my previous stint at the Broncos, you need your best players on the paddock every
the time.
week.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you don't, you cop what the Dolphins copped yesterday.
Yeah.
And that is
they're under
right.
strength yesterday against the
big
Raiders,
time.
and they paid a price, mate.
3 hookers.
30-0
In the second half. Okay, results. We'll go through them. 42-18, Broncos over the Bulldogs. That's where it started. Then on Friday, 46 points to 18, Roosters over the Dragons. They bounce back. Warriors get it done against the Knights, 26 points to 12. This game was a really high-quality game at Amy Park. Melbourne Storm, they are struggling at the moment. They still get the win 24-16. I called this game Cowboys 50, Titans 18.
Yeah.
Kevie called the Penrith game. Seagulls, what about that set play? 26-10, they beat the Panthers. Then yesterday, what we were just talking about, Dolphins get pumped, 40 points to 28, 30 unanswered points, and then 20 points to 18. Tigers Sharks could have been the match of the round. It was a golden point. It was so good. Adam Dewey, Eels had the bye. Ladder after 8 weeks. Unbelievable. Dogs on top. Storm, Raiders, Warriors, Broncos, Cowboys in 6th, Sharks in 7th, and the Seagulls round out the 8th.
Yeah.
Let's talk the big issues before we get to the game.
Right.
18 sin bins in round 8. Sin binnings, Buzz Rothfield put this stat out today, up 147% year on year after 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That is appalling. They are confused. The bunker's shot. Referees don't know what, and there's so much inconsistency, Kev.
Yeah. And it's really annoying me, Dobbo. And I'm sure that the fans who are the paying fans of our game, and I'm a fan of the game as well, they're just not getting value for money. Back in the day, when you sent someone off, they actually committed a foul. And you said, they've got to get binned, and off they'd go.
Yeah. And
I was talking to Andrew Voss about this the other day. The sin bin rule was brought in the early 80s. What's that? Nearly 40-odd years ago. The game has moved on.
So what's the answer?
Well, there's lots of things that need to be looked at. Stop going back 3 or 4 tackles or a set for a penalty. If the referee doesn't see it, it's done. Let's put some more respect back into our referees. They're bloody good. That's a tough job being a referee, and they're trained to be referees. They train these people to see and spot illegal foul play on the field. If they don't see it, guess what?
Yeah, but Kev,
let it go.
Kev,
right, and let the
match
match review committee pick it up. It's not to say you got away with it. At the end of the game, let the match review committee have a look at it and then take action.
Okay, right up.
That's the first point.
Okay.
Right, stop watching football. Hang on, I'm on a rant here, Dobbo. Stop watching in slow motion. If you slow anything down in slow motion, it always looks a lot worse than it actually is. You can see the droplets of the Fox cameras pick up everything. Slow them down. I think it's 75. I don't even know how much they slow them down. Do you know? You're a media man.
No, I don't. But
right. Let's stop slowing it down.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with this.
What don't you agree with?
Satili Tupanua goes into Brendan Piakura and lifts a knee.
Right.
contact to the head.
Do you know what? I missed that.
You didn't see it.
I was panelling and I missed it. Right?
Okay. They do nothing.
No, he's been suspended.
Yeah, he has been now, but in the game...
It was fortunate that Brendan, and I agree, it was fortunate that Brendan...
Off. If you knee a bloke in the head, off.
Yeah, well,
go.
When you lift the knee like that...
Yeah, go. And so, okay.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone sent off like that.
But go to 10.
Go 10 minutes in the bin.
Okay.
Marty Tapau had a history of lifting his knee.
He always go.
They know. Now they're aware of...
So he didn't go.
He didn't go.
So then,
but
there's a high shot with Burton. It was like...
Was that the one on Billy Walters?
Yeah, he got 10. Like, I'm sorry. The inconsistency, that's my drama. If they said at the start of the year, you know what? Anybody hits the head, you're gone. But, mate, it's Rafferty's rules.
Well, because players slip. Players fall in tackles.
Yeah.
And that's when the contact comes in. There is going to be I'm sorry, if you play rugby league, if you play contact sport, there will be contact to every part of your body. Your knee, your shin, your toe, your head. Unfortunately, and players are aware of this. It's where that's where we can't find the common ground, because trying to judge someone on the impact and how much impact they had, it's not working, and it's frustrating. And the fans are getting very annoyed.
I'm annoyed, mate.
Well, you're a fan of the game as well.
Because you know what? Coaches can't talk now. They've been muzzled. Coaches aren't allowed to criticise. They just can't criticise refs anymore. So, they're a law unto themselves. Now, they can say they're trying to clean up the game. It's gone too far.
Too far, mate. 18 sin bins over the weekend.
Shocking. It ruins the game. Like, everybody can talk about how well the Broncos played. But the Bulldogs had 2 players in the bin in the first half. In the first half. They had 3 in the whole game.
Yeah.
But that first half, you have 20 minutes with 12 men. You're cooked. We all know it.
You're not going to win.
You're not going to win that game. It doesn't matter how well you play. You're not going to win that game because you have to defend. It takes it out of you. At the back end of the game, you're gone. We all know that. So the inconsistencies and the rulings and the interpretations, I don't want to get technical because it sends people to sleep, but it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It is absolute bullshit. And we've got to, and like Peter V'landys, Andrew Abdo, Brock Schaefer, Graham Annesley have done the most brilliant job in getting our game to where it is.
It's getting it to the audiences, right, which is great. But the audience is going to start turning it off if teams are playing with 12. There was a team that played with 11. I can't remember. I call that many games over the weekend. 11 men on the field. It was 11 v 12. I forget which game. It was only for a small period.
I watched it for a bit.
But people don't pay $40, $50, $60, $70, $100, $200 a ticket to go and watch that.
No.
They're going to stop going, Dobbo.
Well, that was like Origin last year.
Final.
Origin last year, Suaalii gets taken.
Well, fair enough. He should be off, mate. He's gone. See you, buddy.
Yeah, but you got to be able to replace him because it makes it damages.
No, don't do that. No, that was that's a different one. So you'll put your. Where's that blue hat?
There's
you
no
found
blue
it again
hat.
somewhere.
No, it's not.
It's a blue hat, mate.
No, it's
what are you
not.
saying?
I just don't. I want the spectacle, mate. I like the spectacle.
You're saying
13 on 13. I hate that. I hate it. And so, unless my ruling is, unless the bloke gets injured, Fine, Takiaho, yep. That's fair enough. But what I would say is, Soft Tifley, Toff Sipley, when he went last week for Manly, that was the hip drop on Fine. That was warranted, right? I get it. But if you just clobber somebody around the head and they get up, maybe a penalty.
Well, I'm okay with the penalty.
But the sin binning, and then what happens is I can almost predict it. Wave everybody back. Bunker looks at it.
Yeah. Well, the players are waiting for
it's
it now.
going, mate. That we just everybody waits. The softest tackles I have ever seen are getting adjudicated, and it is.
It's a lottery, mate.
It's a lottery.
I think that was Buzz's words. A lottery.
Yeah, lottery.
It's a lottery.
And, so I'm a bit pissed off about it. I want to make sure, Kev, that we said the right thing. I'm worried about CTE. We shouldn't be tackling around the head. But players slipping into a tackle, like slipping, and then they get connected, like in a split second. Like there's got to be some understanding. Like now, if you go cock with an elbow, I get it. If you deliberately try and collar somebody, Scotty Sorensen, I don't have a problem with him getting 2 weeks. He led with the shoulder. He didn't use his arms. right? 10 in the bin, he gets 2 weeks. I don't have a drama.
No
I
problem.
don't have a problem with that. You would agree with that. But, mate, seriously, 18 sin binnings, and we got Magic Round this weekend. It's bullshit.
Won't be much magic if there's most games of there's just about a sin binning every game.
Every game. More.
Well, 18.
Yeah. So let's put that aside, right? So we know that they're going to look at it today. There's enough pressure that it's going to be, it's ruining the game. People can say they're trying to protect it. I get it, but it is ruining the game. Let's just quickly talk about. We'll start with the games, but the big one out was Broncos, 42 points to 18. Now, well done to Billy Walters. I'm going to give him a rap here. He has worked his ring out to get back into that starting side, and shit, he played
well. He had to because they put him from the back markers, didn't they? Really.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud and pleased for Billy because he's a good footballer.
He's a good footballer. Kev,
very good footballer. And and I said this to someone the other day, like when you've got Reynolds, Hunt, Walsh, Cobbo, Haas, Carrigan, all these blokes want the ball. And Billy's not a selfish player. As a hooker, you can't be selfish. You've got to pass the ball to where it's meant to go. But sometimes you've got to be a little bit selfish. And I used to tell this to Cameron Smith all the time. And I'm not in any way saying that Billy's in Cameron's category, but Cameron was an unselfish player.
Yeah, he was.
And I used to say to him, mate, you have to run the ball because when you run the ball, it helps the team. The team love it when you run the ball. And he used to think to pass to Cooper, pass to Slater, pass the ball all the time, Munster, pass. You got to run. That's the point of it. The best point to attack from is your dummy half. And Billy's doing it beautifully at the moment. 40-20s, really good stuff. And he's complementing the halves, with Reynolds and Benny Hunt. He's helping them, giving them the ball when they need it, and when they don't, he's got his own stuff happening. Payne Haas, Carrigan, they're getting as much ball. So, yeah, it was a strong performance from the Broncos. Really good.
Can I ask you? I'm going to get to that, but I just want to ask you a bit more about Bill. We all know everybody used to say it was nepotism. When you went to the coach,
I never used to read that.
Okay, but come on. But I just want to know from a dad. Like for me, I was proud. And I didn't speak to you over the weekend, but Bill played so well, and all the comments were, "Well, see, it wasn't Kevie, because he played well last year. He played well the season before." It's part of you like, well, screw you, because there was always that talk, he's only there because his dad was the coach. And we know it was bullshit, but he proved again he's had to work his ass off to get back into that starting side, and he's playing as good a football. Like talking to some of the coaches at the Broncos, they just say, mate, as a bloke, culturally, for what he does for that side, and you saw that, you don't want to pump your son up, but surely part of you is like, well, screw him. At least I knew I got that right.
Right. So when you sit down as a coach to pick a team, you're picking your Broncos team for the weekend. It's not just your opinion as the head coach, right? There were 3 or 4 people that I would source.
Yep.
Right.
Your assistants and
people that I trust and I know will speak to me honestly. Every week before I sit down to pick the team, I would consult those people. And if there were some contentious ones, I would consult them as well as the senior players of the. And then they don't have the be all and end all say. At the end of the day, it is the head coach's job to select the team. But you put people around you who you trust and you believe will tell you the truth. And that's how the team was selected every week at the Broncos.
And they always wanted Billy there.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
and if they'd have come to me and said, some people would have questioned, I would have questioned, because Billy, more than anyone, is under the most scrutiny. And I think the last 2 years, last 3 years now, this is including this year, Billy's been really good, mate, really good.
Unbelievable.
As good as any of the Broncos players. So I'm really happy and proud for him because he's been under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny.
You wouldn't know it when you see him because he holds himself with such class.
He's a Walters, mate. They're tough on the inside, even better on the outside.
Is that right? Okay. Well, all right. 42-18. The big talking point's Cobbo at fullback. He played very well.
Very good.
You predicted this. You said he'd go well.
Yep.
And look, while Reece is injured, he'll remain there.
Yeah.
It's an audition, and I said this yesterday on Sunday Simbin. Every NRL team would be looking at this going, hello.
Well,
hello. The fullback is a hard position. You want big running fullbacks. I'm not saying he's not this bloke.
Well, don't even say it then, right?
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about. And he looked a lot It reminded me a lot of GI.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of GI.
Well, he's not in GI space yet, and he's a long way from it.
But he has some qualities that remind me of that.
That was said a couple of years ago, and Selwyn, he's improved in his time at the Broncos. On the centre, we played him a couple of times at fullback there in the last couple of years, and he's done extremely well. But while Reece Walsh is at the Broncos, Reece Walsh will be the fullback.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Selwyn will be at the Broncos next year. They can't afford him. And I think he's auditioning. Now, I know, absolutely agree with you, Reece Walsh is the fullback there long term. His $1.2 million deal kicks in next year. He's got another 5 years yet. And if you're picking your side, he's your first pick, isn't he, a fullback?
And Selwyn's in the side, but it's
but he's on the wing. But other clubs are going to come. Wing money, very different to fullback money, as you know.
It is. I don't think Selwyn's money driven, I don't think he is. Maybe he wants to play
this
fullback.
week. Peter Bedell wrote an article in Courier Mail saying that, he's not just going to remain in Brisbane. If I'm the Dolphins...
Well, if you're Perth, hello.
Or Perth or the Dolphins, you go and
well, he's a fullback, mate.
$1 million. Well, who?
Hammer.
Well, okay.
And then they got
where did Hammer play in Origin?
In the centres.
Right. Okay, where
Hammer
are they
plays
lacking?
his best football at fullback, mate. He's not going the Dolphins. And the Titans have got a fullback.
Yeah, Kinney. Well, he's injured.
Yeah, but he's normally their fullback.
Okay, so where's he going to go?
I don't know, mate. You have to ask Selwyn.
Where do you think he'll go? You think he'll stay in Brisbane?
I don't think he'll stay in Brisbane. No.
You can't keep Stags and him together.
No, they probably can't afford him on their roster either.
So
salary cap.
So I wouldn't think he
unless
would
he stays for less money.
Well, he's got to get through the cap.
What about PNG? He could end up there in a couple. There was talk about that a few weeks back. Could
he ain't going to end up in Perth. For Sherberg boy, he's not going to Perth. He stays in South East Queensland. So he either stays at Brisbane for less money, and I'm talking, I don't know how you get it through because the money he would stay. A bloke said to me yesterday, wouldn't you clear out, get rid of Arthurs, get rid of Mariner, get rid of all these blokes to keep Cobbo?
No, you need depth.
Mate, there's always a young winger coming up.
There's not. That's why teams struggle. The wing position is underrated as a part of the football team. Wingers, and we get stuck into it, they used to hang around footballers, but it's a whole lot different now. If you're a young kid coming into a team and underage stuff and your first game, they used to put you on the wing.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the NRL because it is spotlight. High balls, carry backs, defensively, so many important things in a game rely on your winger doing a great job.
Right. Okay.
So their pay rate should go up.
You reckon? Well,
down.
I don't think Brisbane keep Cobbo.
No, I don't. They can't. Well, they can't afford to really if he's being paid what he's actually worth, unless he accepts unders, which that would even be scrutinised by the NRL
cap
salary.
Cap wouldn't allow it.
No, but
they wouldn't.
Apparently, Adam Reynolds is going to stay now.
I think he will.
Well,
I think Adam Reynolds stays.
How good is he going, Reynolds?
Is he in the top 3 players in the game at the moment?
At the moment, 100% he is.
If you look after 8 weeks, to me, do you know he played?
It's not surprising me that, Dobbo.
Do you know he played with a staph infection? Should not have played. Ricky was ruled out.
Yeah.
He had a staph infection. Reno, stop plucking out ingrown hairs. He plucked out an ingrown hair on the Wednesday. Can't have laser because of his tattoos, right? So he can't get laser, so he shaves, right? And I don't know why they all have to wax down or shave down.
Well, I'd be plucking one every week if that's how he's going to play when he plucks an ingrown hair.
Mate, he had a bung shoulder. He's still in doubt this week. I don't know.
Is he in doubt?
He's in doubt. Yeah.
Well, they're playing on Sunday, so he's got plenty of time.
He says he'll be right, but mate,
he'll be right, mate. He'll roll out the old Reno. He'll have a couple of days off, get himself ready.
How good's he going, though?
He's going really good, really good.
Would you sign him for next year?
Oh, yeah, of course. There'd be a few clubs queuing up.
No, but if you're Broncos and you didn't have him factored because you signed him, would you try and say, oh, hang on?
Well, I was there when we re-signed him.
Yeah.
And there was questions about that. Oh, he's getting injured and all this. Well, he's so important to the Broncos. And then they signed Benny Hunt, and so that changes everything.
Something's got to happen, but they've got to keep Reynolds. Under no circumstances can they let him go. 42 points to 18, good victory. Dogs couldn't have played any worse in the first half. Let's just give it what it is. Second half was different. They get the victory. Brisbane can take confidence out there. I don't think you'll see a performance like that from Canterbury again this year.
No, they didn't handle the occasion too well, did they? They're just a bit fiery early. They got bloke in the bin, and they give away a penalty, and then the Broncos scored within 3 minutes.
Yeah, they just stripped them.
They dropped the ball from the kickoff, didn't they? That's
stripped
right.
Them. So, Xavier Willison on the edge, you like it?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Xavier's a good young player, strong on the edge. The conditions, I think, also help Brisbane. Their size, they're a big big pack and they got big ball carriers. So the slippery conditions sort of helped the Broncos. But it was a good win, and you expect that from the Broncos. Look at their roster. Come on. You know.
Roosters 46, Dragons 18, Warriors 26, Knights 12. The Rabbitohs Storm game was good. Let's get to Cowboys Titans. I called this game. Gee whiz.
What happened to the Titans?
Oh, Kev, I don't know. Where do we begin? I'm going to talk about last week. We talked about it. They were 18-6. They were 16-2 up against Canberra. This time they go out to 18-6, playing good football. 18-12 at half time. Momentum shifted at the end. It was 18-12 at half time. They're leading at half time. They get beaten 50 points to 18. They don't score a point in the second half.
Well, I missed most of the second half.
I'm telling you now, that club has got huge dramas. And I'm not saying Des is here, and I don't want to call for coaches' heads. No. He's either lost, there can be something said, no Foran, no Campbell, no Kinney.
It's Foran not back this week either, is it?
So I get what you're saying. But tackling is effort.
It's an attitude defence.
It's an attitude. And I don't know if Des has lost the team.
He hasn't lost them, mate.
Well, mate, that's two. They've had 2 wins this season, and they got pumped last week with a lead. They got out to a lead again. They got pumped again. So you tell me what's going to happen. And guess who they got this week? The Bulldogs. You tell me what's going to happen.
Well, they've already played the Bulldogs. That's the other thing that annoys me.
Well, the draw's a schmozzle, but they're playing the Dogs on Sunday, right? So you tell me what you think's going to happen.
Well, I don't think. Well, the Bulldogs are going to bounce back.
Okay, so when does the pressure start to come on Des Hasler?
Well,
the Frizzels and the Kellys have absolutely invested their hard-earned cash into this side. At some point, something has to happen. I'm not calling for his head. He's a great coach, premiership coach.
We're not doing that to coaches. That's not.
Well, I can do it.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah,
that's not what we're here for. But, and again, these aren't excuses, but reasons. One of their best players is gone for the year, basically. So that's going to be hard for them to recover from.
Kev, Mo Fortuaker, Origin, Tino.
Yeah, I don't think
Origin. You talk about Campbell
Gillard.
He's played Origin. Played
you
through
got Fafita in there too. I know
Bo Firma, Fafita, Brimpson, Loffy Camperera.
Well, you got to fix their defence, right?
Exactly.
Defence's attitude. So Titans, fix it up.
Right. Cowboys under the radar, 4 in a row.
Yeah,
they lost the first 3.
They're very good at home. Tom Dearden's in sparkling form, isn't he? Sparkling. Robson, the hooker.
Jackson Purdue.
Yeah,
your man. He scored that try.
He did. He keeps scoring the try. He's about the only one. We'll get to that later in the potty.
But what I've got to say is they're a better side than we give them credit for. They're flying under the radar. It's only 8 weeks.
They're not flying under the radar because they've got Origin players coming out of their ears. And Tom Malolo's up there, So they got Nanai. What about his return?
He was good. Where'd Darby come from? Where'd Robert Darby come from? What's his story?
Yeah, he's got PNG background, hasn't he?
Mate, he's a bloody baller.
He's going well. Again, the younger players that just finding their feet in the NRL's tough. So initially he's got through, scoring some good tries now. They're a good side. They've got good strength right across the field, the Cows. I expect them to be making a bit of a charge at the back end of the season. One
team I thought would make a charge was the Dolphins. They got out to, I think, 28-8, right?
Yeah, they did.
And they got beaten 40 points to 28.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
The second half was the big destroyer for them.
But no Max Plath.
Yep.
No Kurt Donahue.
Again, here we
go.
go.
Saifidi, Jeremy Marshall-King.
Yep.
They still haven't got Flegler. They haven't got the depth. Mate, Sean O'Sullivan came on. I mean, Ray Stone had to play 70 minutes.
Ray Stone and Sean O'Sullivan were their 2 options at 9, which, to be fair to Ray Stone, he's a back rower, right?
Yeah. And O'Sullivan's a Queensland Cup halfback.
Well, he's a half 5'8". You put him in that position, he'll do a great job for you, but 9's a bit different. But their kick options and their last play options and their discipline got them in trouble. They couldn't get the ball down the other end of the field, and the Raiders, well, they can score points. We've seen that. And Jamal Fogarty, the match-winning try. Well, they were in front, but he scores it. His price tag's gone up again.
Mate, and he kicked a goal just on full time, just for measure, just to clock over
the 40. Did you see Ricky going on, excited on the sideline?
Where do you reckon he's going to go to Manly 3-year deal, right?
Right. So are they going to find a half somewhere, or what are they doing?
They've got Sanders at young
kids. I heard Ricky say they need some experience in the half, so they'll be shopping for
Yeah, no,
someone
well,
like an Adam Reynolds, maybe.
Or a Billy Walters.
Well, Billy's not.
Or a Billy Walters. He's
Billy's
played
not
the
a
half, mate. He's played in the halves, mate.
Yeah.
I can just see
Billy's
it.
best position is hooker, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Let's leave it at
that. I'm rooting for him to go to Canberra. I'm just telling you that now. Just quickly, Tigers. I liked it. Galvin, like Leichhardt, just from a purist of rugby league. Did you would have seen the vision? Sold out.
Yeah.
It goes to
Brilliant.
Golden Point. Good on Benji. Good on Lockie Galvin.
Yeah.
They've had a rotten couple of weeks.
They have had a tough few weeks, and I thought Lockie Galvin was going to kick the field goal to win the game from. That would have been nice.
Mate, his try-saving tackle on Aiden Fanua-Blake, I think it was.
No, it was
was it on Tommy Hazelden?
Yeah, Hazelden.
Yeah, mate, unbelievable. And his try assist early, Luai went out the back to him and he busted through the line and got an offload, and I was like, mate, you know what? This kid can play. It was his best game probably.
Well, he can play. He's a good player. One of the best young talents in the game. But I'm really happy for him and the Tigers to get that game out the way. With a win, the Cronulla had their chances to win that game, but they just blew it with a field goal. And it was good to see the Tigers. Adam Dewey kicked the penalty goal to win the game from in Golden Point. So they'll be happy, the Tigers. They needed that win. And Cronulla, they need to...
They're in a bit of trouble.
Get their act into gear.
They're a bit of trouble. I predicted them to go higher than anything.
Well, we're only, what are we, eight weeks in? So.
Yeah. Now, the biggest controversial issue over the whole weekend was the missing tooth of Uncle Wayne's. Now, Wayne Bennett lost a tooth over the course of the weekend. Wasn't able to do the press conference. You've had dentures and you've got the same sort of issues.
I've got a similar story to tell. We were actually playing the Raiders one Sunday. This would have been the early 90s, and I had a denture because I got my tooth knocked out playing cricket, of all things, trying to catch a cricket ball and it hit me in the tooth. And then, so anyway, I used to have a denture for most of my career playing rugby league, and I used to room with Alf all the time. And so I told Alf, I've got to do a Channel 9 cross in the morning for the footy show. Yeah. I've got to get up early. I hope I don't sort of disturb your sleep. And he said, yeah, no, that's no worries, Kev. So anyway, he gets up, and I normally just put my tooth beside my bed. So he gets up, and the tooth's not there. It's gone.
He's stolen it.
He's stolen it. So I wake him up.
Yeah.
I said, Alf, I've got 2 minutes. I've got to be on air, right? I'm meant to be on Channel 9. Where is my tooth? He said, what do you mean? He played like he didn't know what was going on. I said, Alf, my tooth. He said, what's the matter? I said, where is my tooth? You've hidden it somewhere. He said, no. And then I got up and I was walking around the room. He started playing hot and cold with me. So I'm looking behind the curtains, cold. I said, what's that cold? He said, hot and cold. I'll play it with you. So I'm walking around the room and I opened up the fridge, cold. And then I started walking into the bathroom, into the toilet and that, in the shower. He's going warm, getting hotter. I thought, oh, no, he hasn't. So I lifted up the toilet. He said, very hot. And it wasn't in there, thankfully, but he put it in the toilet roll.
You never found it?
I got it. Did the interview. We played the game. I can't remember who won or lost, but we always had a few drinks after a game, which we always did back in the day. And then, so I got up the next morning, the tooth's not there again. So I looked at Alf. I said, Alf, and he's saying cold. But I probably had too many drinks, so I forgot where I actually put it.
Right.
And Alf didn't know either, but he was just
playing along. Where was it?
I didn't find it. I went home without the tooth.
You lost the tooth?
I lost the tooth.
Holy hell.
And the tooth was there. It was behind the curtains, wrapped up in a towel that I'd hidden it, thinking Alf was going to grab it.
But you'd forgotten.
I'd forgotten where I put it.
Because you had a bit of piss on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, great story. But I got it fixed up.
Yeah, right. Now you'll never lose that tooth.
No.
What, it's stuck
so
in
I
there?
did feel for Wayne, though.
Is it stuck in there?
Yeah, I've got one of those implants,
Right.
so...
Yeah, now good on you.
Coming out now. But Wayne,
get the implant, mate.
Well, we're at Fox, and he was supposed to do a pre-game interview, which the coaches are meant to do.
Yeah.
But he pulled out of it. We thought, what's wrong? And then he pulled out of the presser. So we got the mail that Wayne won't be doing the press conference post-game either. So we thought, hello, there's a big story. You know what you journalists are like, Dobbo.
Oh, we love it, mate. We love it.
But there was nothing to it except he was missing the tooth. So I hope he gets it fixed up real soon, Wayne.
Good on you, Wayne. Questions for Kev, and there's a lot to get through. Favourite Queensland Origin moment, playing or not playing?
Playing, definitely playing.
Yeah.
First one was my debut, actually being in the Queensland side. And the 98 series was a good one for us for Queensland. That
Real
was
good.
the 94 miracle try as well with Coiney.
Yeah.
That was a magic moment, and I celebrated that one. I'm a professional celebrator. I keep telling you, Dobbo, when the cameras are on, I used to know how to celebrate.
Oh, beautiful. Good. Hey, listen, who was not Billy, who's your favourite player to coach? Exclude Billy.
Oh, that'd be unfair to say one. I think if you ask every coach.
You didn't have a soft spot for any?
Oh, I've got a soft spot for all of them, mate. I love coaching. I love being involved. And, that even goes back to my junior days and coaching my own kids in their teams. There was so many great kids that you just love helping them, one, be better footballers with their skills and the like, but also better people,
Yep.
That's part of coaching. You're a real mentor, which I love. That's the part about it that I really love.
If the Broncos go on a winning streak with Selwyn, do you keep Selwyn at fullback?
No, you don't. You're moving back to the centre or wing, and
no matter what.
Put Reece Walsh at fullback.
Okay.
Do you imagine Reece Walsh not being in the side? I just can't picture that.
Yeah. Do you think he'll end up at 6, though? Is another question.
No, I don't think he. I think
you don't think
fullback.
Walsh will end up with 6?
Well, maybe in 10 years' time. That's what Lockyer did. When you lose a bit of your speed and whatnot. But defending in the front line is so different to defending at fullback. For the Reece Walsh knockers out there, just give him a break.
3 teams have conceded 50 points or more this year. Now, there's going to be a lot more to come.
Yeah, but they're
in
gone.
years gone by.
Put a line through them, Dobbo.
You don't think they can win the comp?
No.
Any team that concedes 50 will not win the comp. Right.
So that happened to the Titans on the weekend, did
Yep, gone.
Yeah. No, that's been a milestone.
Roosters?
Yeah, can't win it.
Right. Did Penrith get 50 put on them as well? No, they haven't had them.
No, not yet.
It's not yet.
Oh, well, they won't.
Okay, well, we hope
Well,
not.
they were close on the weekend,
Yeah,
weren't they?
yeah.
Well, not the weekend, but,
Okay. We've got a huge guest on Wednesday coming on. Magic Round weekend.
We got a Magic player. That's who we got.
A Magic player.
For the Magic weekend.
Make sure you go to Inside Ball Podcast. Kevie, you bet. Yeah. Jackson Purder's been good to you for the last couple of weeks.
I was off with my tips on the weekend and also off with on the win-loss and also the anytime try scorers. We had 4 try scorers we predict. I'm going to say we because we're all involved in this, not just poor old Kev. All right, we had Selwyn Cobbo at fullback to score a try. Well, he didn't score, but he got the Broncos home.
Try assist, yeah.
Right? For the Cowboys, Jackson Purder, well, he scored, so that's one leg up. The Titans, we had Khan Pereira to score. He was coming back from injury.
Yeah, Loffy didn't score, but Jojo Fafita scored.
Jojo Fafita scored. And the Dolphins, we had Jack Bostock to score, but Jack didn't get over either. He was one of the only ones that didn't score in that opening sort of. I know. Well, Herbie scored. Yeah. And then
Nicarima scored. Avarillo.
Yeah.
Nicarima. Yeah.
So I'm going to put a bit more work into that this week. And if you've, because this is Magic weekend this weekend.
Big weekend.
So we're going to come up with a Magic try-scoring weekend.
Okay. Right. Now, Kev's cooking is always a Sunday night feast. Family dinner on Sunday night.
Well, I got home late because I went and watched South play in the BRL first. Yep. Harry, my son, was playing in that game. And then I stayed on to watch the Queensland Cup.
Capras, yep.
Right, South won, so that was a good win for them. So got home late. What do you do when you get home late?
Sunday night.
Sunday night. Late's, about 6 o'clock on
Kevin's crumb chicken?
No. Keep going.
Roast? No.
Roast, no, not a Sunday.
Steak, sausage and bread?
No. The go-to meal is always, what is it?
Well, it's takeaway.
It's takeaway.
Right.
It's China Sea at Milton.
Oh, my God. Amen.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. A succulent Chinese feed.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What you go to?
They're crumb prawns.
Salt and pepper prawn?
No, crumb prawns.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I've never had the crumb prawns at China Sea.
Well, you're missing out on.
We have the dragon boat, salt and pepper calamari, and salt and pepper prawn.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
No, but they've got so much on their menu there. Because I was just waiting there. Got down there a bit early for the takeaways, and Stanley was there. We got chatting. He's been there 20 years now, Stanley.
Beautiful restaurant.
And the menu there is amazing. So many dishes, and he said that. He mentioned it. He pleases everyone. So he was in China.
Sung Choi Bao. I got a good story about this.
Yeah.
You want to know my?
We love stories on the show. What do you got? Share it with us.
China Sea story. I'm recently single, right? So I went on a date, and I took her to China Sea. This girl to China Sea.
It's a good choice.
Okay, so we meet.
You're in between marriages here.
In between marriages, so just separated from my first wife, and I go on a date. Just getting back into the game.
Yep.
China Sea.
Good choice.
Go to entree, mixed entree, but to start off with, Sunchoy Bao.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Minced pork, Sancho.
She's excited. She's very excited. This is literally a date. So we go there. We have the Sunchoy Bao. Then I said, bring on the duck for the duck pancake.
Oh, yeah.
But as she's had the Sunchoy Bao, she's gone, and I said, are you okay? She goes, oh, this wouldn't have had any nuts in it, would it?
Oh.
Like, what? She had a nut allergy. So thank God the Wesley Hospital's around the corner.
Oh, no, Dobbo.
The date finishes, mate. I'd ordered, when I order, I just don't order. I just order big. So I got rice, I got salt, pepper, prawn, I got, sweet and sour pork. So we go up to the Wesley with this girl, lovely girl. I'm not going to say her name.
No, don't do that.
But I had to, they're like, oh, what's the date of birth? Like, I don't know a date of birth. Her emergency contact. I don't know her emergency contact. So literally she's in there getting the EpiPen. She's got the nut allergy. So I had to ring her parents and introduce myself and say, hi, my name's Ben. I've gone on a date with your daughter and she's had a reaction to a Sunchoy Bao. And so anyway, as it turned out, she now carried an EpiPen. I took her to Milton McDonald's on the way home, dropped her back out to Albany Creek, and that was the end of that. We didn't get there. But, it's done a lot of damage. It didn't help my love life, but it's helped me.
Can I just say what a good date you were? That's really nice of you to
take it. Yeah,
really,
I just didn't.
Well, you had to, though. You couldn't
I wasn't
leave the poor girl.
No, took her to the Wesley. Thank you to the Wesley. And I went back and I got it all boxed up and took it home and reheaded it the next day. The whole meal, mate. Beautiful. Anyway, that's us. We'll be back. We've got a big week, Magic Round. Thursday, we'll preview the Women's Origin game. We've got Magic Round. And on Wednesday, make sure you go to Inside Ball because we've got a superstar magic guest. Magic guest. You're going to love it. I'm not going to give you a hint, but it's a big guest and a lot to like. He's a friend of ours, and you will love him as well. We'll see you next time.